fastball, and a soft liner caught at third by Uribe.
It was March 31st, 2011, opening day. The Los Angeles Dodgers, behind Clayton Kershaw, beat their rival, the world champion San Francisco Giants, 2-1 in front of 56,000 fans at Dodger Stadium. The game would quickly be forgotten. What happened in the parking lot would not. I'm Mark Brown.
I'm Giovanna Lotta.
Dodger Stadium is a Los Angeles landmark, a picturesque setting for baseball, where families have been enjoying America's pastime since 1962. But it is also the scene of one of the most well-known acts of sports fan violence in American history.
After that 2011 opening day game, two Dodger fans viciously attacked a San Francisco Giants fan named Bryan Stow. The case put a magnifying glass on security at sports events.
It also sparked a massive manhunt by the LAPD, led to the arrest of an innocent man, and in the end, a multi-million-dollar civil judgment.
For Bryan Stow, his recovery has been slow but remarkable. His story, one of resilience.
You're Mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Bryan as well.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bryan Stow is a character, one of a kind. When you meet him, you learn quickly that the severe head injuries he suffered did not rob him of his sense of humor.
Let me get his gum out of his mouth.
Oh, Mom.
Oh, Bryan. Oh, my God. Church and being on TV. I hate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I could put it behind my ear.
It's frowned upon on television.
Yeah,
Gum,
I hate seeing
yeah.
gum.
Could I have my parents removed?
The damage, the deep scars are still clearly visible, now more than a dozen years after he was brutally beaten. He lives outside of Santa Cruz, a former paramedic, a father of two, and a lifelong San Francisco Giants fan. At 54 years old, Stow still has a long way to go in his recovery, but he has come so far.
I'm a good couple years away from being able to walk without assistance, I believe.
It was true a few years ago, I don't know if it's still true now, that you, because of all your injuries and what you've gone through, you have to take 24 and a half pills a day. Is that still true?
24 and a half pills per day, every day, and now I'm down to 14 or 15.
What did they take from you?
My life. I was a healthy paramedic, loved my job, loved my family, and boom, my life changed like that.
He doesn't remember that March night of 2011. His memory is forever damaged. He was in the stands of Dodger Stadium with friends for the opening day game. It's a well-known and heated rivalry, the Dodgers and the Giants. Stow and his friends decked out in their Giants gear. After the game, Stow's group was walking to their car in the stadium parking lot when Stow was attacked by two men wearing Dodger jerseys.
It was a Dodger fan in a Dodger jersey. There's no way to identify him. If I saw him, I could recognize him, but he's gone.
Stow was blindsided, punched on the left side of his head. He fell, hitting his head on the pavement. Witnesses say he was then kicked at least 3 times, also in the head. His friend, Corey Maciel, a fellow paramedic, called 911.
He's breathing, he's got a pulse, but he's not conscious. He's got snoring respirations at the moment, bleeding out of his left ear, no response to painful stimuli. We need an ambulance right now.
Corey, that dove on me to protect me, goes, Bri, I saw your brain. My skull was split open that much that he saw my brain.
Part of his skull had to be removed. He was placed in a medically induced coma for 9 months. The fact that he's even here at all is as close to a miracle as you will find.
Many patients with this degree of bleeding and swelling in the brain, especially on both sides with the skull fractures that Bryan had, would not survive this injury.
Neurosurgeons Dr. Gabriel Zada and Dr. Peter Gruen at LA General Medical Center treated Bryan Stow.
Bryan had at least one large fracture with a displaced skull, and that was over a threatening area. The underlying brain had severe swelling and almost what we call contusions or bruising with blood in that area.
I wasn't sure when he left here that he was ever going to be different than he was when he left here. He was so unconscious, he was so deeply comatose for so long, and the longer that you're in that state, the less likely it is that you're going to emerge from it.
While still in a coma, Stow was moved from Los Angeles to San Francisco. It was there where he regained consciousness.
And I was like, why am I here? And my mom goes, Bryan, you were in a coma. And I just started crying.
He had to relearn how to talk, how to walk, how to write. His recovery may never be complete.
It was a whole new learning experience for me. It was starting over. So if you talk to me now, I'm 12 years old, since that was when it happened. Boom, like that. I was done being a paramedic and a cool guy to being disabled.
This was a really complex investigation just because of the volume of evidence involved. I mean, it happened at Dodger Stadium, and initially all the police knew were that the suspects were someone at that game, and Dodger Stadium obviously holds somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 fans. So that's a lot of people.
LA County Deputy District Attorney Michelle Hennessy was the prosecutor, bringing 2 men to trial for the beating of Bryan Stow. But getting to that point took months and was not without mistakes. The brutal attack horrified the city of Los Angeles and made headlines around the world. But police had little to go on.
Like a needle in a haystack of needles, because every clue is a potential correct clue. Over 800 clues, and every one of them might be the right clue, and 4 of them were the right clue. But there's no way to know until you investigate them all.
Descriptions from witnesses of the 2 men who beat Stow led to these sketches, which became a regular sight on the news and on billboards. With few leads, a reward was offered. It would soon exceed $200,000. Then in May 2011, less than 2 months after the attack, a break in the case. An arrest is made.
Giovanni Ramirez is and was and has been our primary suspect on the Stow beating.
This was a man arrested, Giovanni Ramirez. He had a criminal record. Police said it all came together when a parole agent thought Ramirez resembled the sketch of one of the suspects. For Bryan Stow's family, news of the arrest brought relief.
It was a very emotional day yesterday. We were very excited that that piece of the puzzle, one of the pieces, had been put in place.
I am as sure as you need to be to make an arrest and pursue a prosecution.
I feel very confident that I've got an actually innocent person. Not just somebody that they can't convict, but an actually innocent, factually innocent person.
For weeks, the LAPD maintained Giovanni Ramirez was their main suspect. But as time passed, it became clear police had the wrong man.
You say he wasn't even at the ball game because he doesn't?
No, he doesn't go to games.
He wasn't even there?
No.
Ramirez's mother insisted her son wasn't at the game that night Stow was attacked. His defense team produced several alibi witnesses. Even Ramirez's own daughter, in 4th grade at the time, came forward. She said Ramirez was with her the night of the attack at her aunt's house. She also said he still had hair at the time and did not match the sketch of the man who attacked Bryan Stow.
I knew that it wasn't my dad because he did have hair, and he play around with me, and I tell him to shave it and stuff, but he didn't want to listen. So he had kept the hair, and that was all. And then a couple days later he had shaved it. Because of the nature of the drawing, it bald, Latino, male, age 20 to 30, it could be a million different people. And unfortunately, I think they picked up the wrong guy without having all of the information.
About a month after his arrest, Giovanni Ramirez was sent back to prison to serve time on a parole violation. He was never charged in the beating of Bryan Stow.
I mean, there was a point where I thought this kind of stuff only happens in movies, you know what I mean? It just felt like a giant conspiracy. I was on that road already. I was doing everything that was supposed to be done to stay out of trouble, and then bam, I get hit with this.
He would later file a lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles and Police Chief Charlie Beck, claiming his rights were violated. He was dismissed by a federal court judge. The manhunt had stalled. The investigation would now be moved into the hands of the LAPD's elite robbery homicide unit.
If RHD hadn't been assigned the case, I do not think would have been solved.
Today we're here to announce the arrest of 3 suspects in the brutal beating of Bryan Stow. Luis Sanchez, age 29, Marvin Norwood, age 30, and Doreen Sanchez, age 31. But just as importantly, I want to tell the world that Giovanni Ramirez is no longer a suspect in this case.
By July 2011, 4 months after the attack on Bryan Stow at Dodger Stadium, the LAPD was facing intense pressure to solve this case. With the LAPD's elite robbery homicide unit taking over, 3 new suspects were arrested. The main culprit, Luis Sanchez. He was accused of throwing the punch that sent Stow crashing to the pavement and then kicking him 3 times in the head. Marvin Norwood was with him, as he would later admit, backing him up. And Doreen Sanchez, Norwood's girlfriend and Luis' sister, was the getaway driver. This time, the ending would be different for the LAPD. This video clearly shows the 3 suspects were at the opening day game. Marvin Norwood is in the foreground. Luis Sanchez is a few seats away in sunglasses. Doreen Sanchez is standing between them. Witnesses said Luis Sanchez was causing trouble all evening.
Luis Sanchez was throwing peanuts at Giants fans. He threw a soda at a Giants fan during the game, a female Giants fan. He tried to assault another Giants fan that was walking by during the game. And even after the game in the parking lot, before Bryan Stow ever arrived in his area, he punched another Giants fan that was walking by. So he was assaulting people long before Bryan Stow came into the picture.
During a police interview, Marvin Norwood admitted a fight did happen that night.
It's nothing like everyone's saying, man. It was nothing like that. It was Louis f***ed up for running over there and trying to pick a fight with 4 people. You know what I mean? Yeah. I f***ed up because, you know, I ran over there to help him.
And while in lockup, a conversation between Sanchez and Norwood was recorded.
I was talking to him a lot. 15, 20.
From witnesses to the suspects themselves, the truth was finally coming out.
They heard footsteps running up behind them. That's what Bryan's friends described. And then the suspect, Luis Sanchez, punched one of Bryan's friends, I believe it was Alan Bradford, knocked him to the ground. And Marvin Norwood was actually face to face with Bryan. And Luis Sanchez came up behind Bryan and cold-cocked him, punched him right in the side of the head from behind. Bryan never saw it coming.
Soon, Doreen Sanchez was cooperating with police, and charges against her were dropped. And a search of Norwood's home turned up this: firearms belonging to Luis Sanchez, including high-powered rifles. Because of previous felony convictions, it was illegal for Norwood or Sanchez to have weapons. Federal charges were added. The evidence was piling up. A plea deal was struck.
It's a game at the end of the day, and you lost perspective. We run into people like you that have no civility. When you're smiling, you think it's funny. No civility, no respect for individuals. You don't respect the rights of individuals.
In 2014, both men pled guilty. Luis Sanchez was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Marvin Norwood received a 4-year sentence.
However, the years that you spend in prison is what you cretins deserve.
Being here, I'd hoped to see one tiny bit of remorse in order to not think you both are that despicable. But I don't.
The injuries to Bryan were so extreme. You know, he has lifelong, unrecoverable injuries that he's never going to be able to move past. Yet our maximum sentence for Mr. Sanchez was 9 years. That's all. And it doesn't seem sufficient for the injury, but we're bound by the confines of the law.
Do you think about them?
Every single day. Wondering what they're doing. Yeah, one of the guys got 4 years in prison. The other guy got 8 years in prison. I had 5 cardiac arrests that night in the hospital, and that's all they got. It's one of those things where you want to see something get turned around and happen to them. But it's not going to happen.
How do you put a price tag on a life that's forever changed? With Marvin Norwood and Luis Sanchez behind bars, Bryan Stow's family focused their attention on the Los Angeles Dodgers and team owner Frank McCourt. The Stow family sought tens of millions of dollars in a civil lawsuit, much needed money to pay for Stow's astronomical medical bills, support his 2 children, and the care he would need for the rest of his life. They hired attorney Tom Girardi.
You know, the one thing you're supposed to be when you go to a ball game is safe. It's supposed to be for mom and dad and the kids and so forth. And what we've seen, what has happened at Dodger Stadium, they've decided to cut on security.
The lawsuit accused the Dodgers of providing inadequate security the night Stow was brutally beaten, poor lighting in the parking lot, a gutted security department, and the few officers who were there were not positioned where it mattered most.
2 people from Dodgers were supposed to be in that parking lot. So it doesn't matter if they have 200 guys or 5,000 guys. They had no one where the assaults took place, and that's their responsibility.
Even more critical, the lawsuit claimed it took at least 15 minutes for anyone to respond. As for the Dodgers, the team's defense focused on what was in place that night. Experts testified the team hired additional help for opening day in 2011, bringing security at the stadium to an all-time high. Former Dodgers owner Frank McCourt placed the blame solely on the attackers.
I was appalled at the criminal behavior of Sanchez and Norwood. And make no mistake, they're the parties responsible for this tragic incident.
The trial lasted for weeks. In the end, the jury ruled in Bryan Stow's favor.
Were any of the following negligent? Los Angeles Dodgers, LLC, yes.
But the decision was not sweeping. While jurors found the Dodgers negligent, owner Frank McCourt was exonerated. And Stow was awarded only half of what he requested. The Dodgers were responsible for $14 million.
The two officers who were supposed to be in that lot, they just weren't there. And even though there was an action plan by the Los Angeles Police Department, they weren't there either.
After insurance payments, medical liens, and other expenses, Bryan Stow received roughly $5 million, money that would have to last him the rest of his life.
The attack on Bryan Stow and the civil court case placed a spotlight on safety at Dodger Stadium and at facilities across the country.
The Stow incident was something that we hadn't seen much of, an attack outside of the building on the way to their cars or vehicles, and there just hadn't been a lot of that prior to the Stow incident.
Dan Donovan is the founder and managing partner of Stratoscope, a Florida-based company specializing in event security, crowd management, and stadium design.
There's ballparks like Dodger Stadium that has so much responsibility with so many parking lots, and then there's ballparks like, Fenway Park that's in a very, urban area where they don't have that responsibility because they don't own that many parking garages.
Dodger Stadium sits in Chavez Ravine, a sprawling property where 3 freeways meet. Inside, the largest capacity stadium in Major League Baseball. Outside, it's just as massive, 16,000 parking spots spread across 30 lots. Securing something this expansive can be an exhaustive challenge, but one that needs to be met. Assaults reported by the LAPD with the location being Dodger Stadium or the stadium's address have nearly doubled since before the pandemic and more than tripled since the year Bryan Stow was attacked. Visitors to Dodger Stadium must adhere to a fan code of conduct, a set of rules that, if broken, could end with your ejection from the event, your season tickets pulled, or even your arrest. Off-duty LAPD officers are permitted to work in uniform at a few sites in Los Angeles, Dodger Stadium being one of them, with the Dodgers footing the bill. But we don't know how many officers or security personnel work a regular season game at Dodger Stadium, or the scope of changes made to security after the Bryan Stow assault. When we asked the Dodgers about safety protocols currently in place, the Dodgers offered only a one-sentence response. we don't discuss our security measures here at the stadium publicly. While the far majority of people attending concerts, baseball games, or other stadium events will have a positive experience, it only takes one incident to change a life forever.
That would be my #1 recommendation for all of our fans and guests attending these events. Just know your surroundings, know before you go, report, walk away from problems.
For Bryan Stow, the journey has been long and difficult, but there have been moments to treasure. In 2021, 10 years after the beating that nearly took his life, he threw out the first pitch at the Giants' home opener. His family started the Bryan Stow Foundation, arranging visits for Bryan at schools to talk about bullying and fan violence.
I'm on a mission to tell my story of survival and to stop bullies from hurting anyone else.
Through it all, the surgeries, the rehabilitation, the court cases, it's clear Bryan would not be where he is today without his family.
Nice. All the way down. Get the elbow down. All the way. Yeah, nice shot.
His son Tyler, now his trainer, helping his dad gain strength. His daughter Tabitha, also close by. He sees her often. His sisters, Bonnie and Aaron, who always have his back. And his parents, Dave and Ann, who care for Bryan every single day.
For them to step up and be there for him, I don't know where he would be. You know, I don't know where we would be if we didn't all have each other, because that's kind of how we got to where we are today.
Him and my mom have a special bond, and we are, like we were talking earlier, they're best friends, and they do everything together. She has given up everything for him, of course. She's pretty amazing.
The two men who beat Bryan Stow have now served their time and are out of prison. For those close to Bryan, there's still anger about the sentences they received.
And even though he nearly died the last time he visited Dodger Stadium, Bryan says he would go back for another Giants-Dodgers game. I'm Mark Brown.
I'm Giovanna Latta. Thanks for watching.